Chef Ah Yong is one of the traditional chefs of Bando cuisine with over 200,000 guests coming to eat his cuisine every year. For me, Chef Ah Yong's dish really is all about a very uncomplicated way of putting together some delicious ingredients. Do I fry things? Do I bake things? I need to maintain simplicity to create something masterful. Jiababui, welcome to Taiwan. Bando cuisine has traditionally been served outdoors for special occasions, and our chef here has served up to 200 tables at a time, so 2,000 guests. He's really a legend in the cuisine, so let's meet him. Hello, Ah Yong 师傅，您好，您好，您好. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So this is my first time actually seeing a bando setup. I've never had bando myself. So can you describe to us a little bit the setup, the equipment, and how the whole process works for you to be able to serve so many people at one time?
板豆是乡下，我们就以前是离居的乡下，大家互相帮忙协助，才会形成一个板的一种温暖、一种情感、一种人情味浓厚。
I'm wondering why is it that the cooking has to take place outdoors?
那个时代可是外面比较方便，到家有喜事，有喜事的去到办吼。
So Chef Ah Yong, I'm wondering, how many is the maximum number of guests you can serve at one time?
有一次的话就是800桌，800桌等于8000人。当天哦，食材到那边弄到晚上都可以完成，没有提早做的，这是分了10个厨房。
So I think it's so crazy, 800 tables. 10 kitchen setups serving that many guests of 10 guests per table, 800 tables, a lot of guests to feed. So from what I know, bando earliest because it's a wedding or a special occasion. There's also entertainment. So there's even music, there's people singing, there's other entertainment things that would happen throughout the banquet process. So it really is a time for community and for everyone to get together and celebrate. Now, I know earliest bando was outside, but now the chef, you have created a beautiful, beautiful restaurant with a kind of European flair to it. Would you mind taking us inside so we can take a look?
好啊 ，OK 啊。
好。Chef Ah Yong is one of the original traditional chefs of Bando cuisine with over 200,000 guests coming to eat his cuisine every year. He's also one of the top choices for presidential events. And as a special treat today, he's gonna take us back in time and he's gonna cook on the street doing the old school bando. Really a wonderful opportunity, so let's check it out. Chef, why did you decide to design the style of the restaurant like this? This is really amazing.
用餐的地方就是给人家能够静下来，能够坐得下来，啊，他好好享受美食的料理，就是要心情放松，有加分。
So definitely this whole idea of the customer is the focus, and I think that will come across in your food and also the environment and surroundings. I think it's pretty amazing. 真的是很漂亮，很漂亮. So please, chef, have a seat.
Okay.
So what I really think is quite amazing is that chef has considered not just the food, but the whole experience. Where you're sitting, the plates, the dining, the decor, food, and it's just I think he must be a tourist like me. So just enjoying beautiful things, and it really does make for a lovely experience for dining. So chef, we are here. You are one of the masters of Taiwanese cuisine. What is a classical Taiwanese dish that you would recommend to our viewers that represents who you are and where you come from?
这个菜是什么？以前的时候古典味哈，像锅渣菜，古典也一样，鸡白手 如果一手两手是古典音乐，我们台菜也是啊，什么古早菜就是几啊百道菜啊，老啊2道3道，那是古早味的啊，所以我有推荐说我们的鱿鱼雷霸蒜很经典。
Johi deva swan.
对啊，也
Okay. Okay, so snails with calamari and swan is leeks.
对。
So a wonderful dish. Well, my favorite is seafood, and now there are 2 kinds of seafood in this dish. My mouth is kind of watering. So could we trouble the chef to show us how to cook this dish?
可以啊，可以啊。
Thank you so much.
很棒。
Bando, just a cultural phenomenon and culture part of, growing up in traditional Taiwanese cuisine, having this banquet, imagining a chef having to cook for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I think it's very primal, just this, you got what you have and you have to make it work. But it also shows the ingenuity and the creativity and the resourcefulness of the Taiwanese chefs.
今天要做的是鱿鱼雷霸蒜，我先来切一个蒜哈。
What's really important for bando is to make sure that all the ingredients are prepped and ready to go. So very clearly you can see all the items need to be cut to shape first. They're all bite-sized, so when they cook, it's going to cook evenly, cook quickly, and that way the guests can get the food when they need it.
等我切好了哈，等一下要爆香哦。
Even though all the ingredients are very simple in this particular dish, the process of how the chef deals with each one of them really allows the flavors to shine through. So for the pork belly, to quickly just stir fry it, let that flavor of that fat kind of caramelize a little bit and get those flavors locked in there. Each step is really important. All the elements in this particular dish are very simple on their own, but putting them together with the amazing broth from pork, it's very simple and very complex at the same time.
这不复杂，可是为什么它会有特别给人家很怀念的那种一道鱿鱼雷霸蒜呢？因为它汤汁真的太鲜甜了。
This is my first time seeing bando actually in action. So to know that a chef had to create food for that many people with just the very basic equipment for the bando is really amazing. Wow, beautiful. Okay.
对，你试看看，我来。
Okay. So, Chef, can you tell us a little bit about, again, this dish? Where did this dish actually originate from, or what's the history?
就是以前呢，就是人家讲酒家菜，什么酒家菜呢？以前人喜欢蘸酒家是要啉酒不
OK
喝酒。喝酒是这一道是他们是最喜欢点的。为什么？我可以吃1个钟、2个钟、3个钟。 还是热热的，为什么热热？它有周边有炭烤在加温，嘿，在保温。
And let me try this. So this is it's dried squid, which is a little unusual. It's been dried and then they rehydrate it, and then it's blanched and then put in here. So let me try the squid. So because the squid's been dried before, it has a little extra texture to it, but still retains the flavor of calamari. It's delicious, And
3层肉，这看，不油腻，可是它有一点增加那种层次感的哦，有汤啊，有肉啦，这个它的层次感就也很重叠起来的。
Because I think what's interesting for me, the pork belly, even though it's pork belly, there's fat there, but it's a very clean flavor. You just taste the beautiful, rich taste of the pork. It's not fatty. Okay, and actually, this is one of my favorite.
芹菜，然后个芹菜哈，香气啊，微微的香气。
Clean flavor of the celery with all those other ingredients. It's really refreshing. And Chef, I just want to thank you so much for having me to your restaurant to eat this classic signature dish. After eating this, I have a lot of inspiration and ideas, and I would love for you to try some of my cooking. Would you come?
期待你创新的菜。
Okay. 好，谢谢。 I'm back in the kitchen and Chef Ayong is coming a little bit later. So I'm gonna do an inspired version of the sea snail with calamari and leek soup. I've got my sea snails and I've got squid, and I'm gonna take some of the same ingredients, but I'm gonna cook it using an Italian-inspired flavor palette, and I hope he's gonna enjoy it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a bit of a court bouillon. Using a little bay leaves, black pepper. I'm going to cook the sea snails and then the squid in there and then slice it up. We're gonna serve it cold. Just a rough chop because I'm just trying to get the flavor out of these aromatics. We're not actually gonna eat them. Get your celery. And I want to put in just a little touch of white wine. The court bouillon's been simmering for a little bit, so all that flavor's come out. So it's time to take care of one of our stars, which is the calamari. And I want to do something a little bit special with the way that I'm cutting the calamari, so I'm taking the two. So this just needs a quick blanch in the court bouillon. Not too long, nice and tender, but full of flavor. Calamari tends to cook pretty quickly, so we don't need to let it sit in there too long. Calamari body's out. We have all this flavor in there, and another star we have is the sea snail. So sea snails in Chef's dish, she's using the canned ones. We're gonna use the fresh ones. So these need to go in. Oceanic flavor, but the meat can be a little tough, so you really gotta let it percolate in there and get nice and tender. So we have our lovely sea snails in there. We're gonna let them perk away for a little bit and we'll come right back. Two of the key ingredients in Chef Ayong's dish are the celery and the leeks. So I'm gonna do an interesting preparation based on a Roman recipe, carciofi alla romana, which is actually artichokes, but I'm gonna use the celery. So the celery is gonna become the star of the dish. Leeks to about the same size. And the next thing we're gonna work on is mint, and I'm gonna use parsley. And mint is a little bit of an unusual ingredient. Think cooked mint. I mean, mint, you see it in desserts. And what's gonna make this extra special, who doesn't love garlic? Okay, so combine them all together. And the key with this is we don't want it to fry, we just want it to braise and stew, get all those flavors in. So I'm gonna put a little olive oil. And then in with the celery we've prepared already. And we've got celery, we've got the leeks. And now in with this delicious herb mixture. I'm gonna put in a touch of water, and we're gonna let this braise down, put the lid on, let all those flavors develop, and we'll be right back. Celery, leeks smell delicious. I think they're done. This dish is great served hot or cold or at room temperature. I'm gonna take these out and just let them percolate and marinate and soak up all the delicious flavors of the braising liquid. Next thing I'm gonna work on is the vinaigrette for the seafood. So I love the idea of something fresh and acidic. The celery and leeks have been braised, but I want to bring some bright flavors in here. So I'm going to make a quick vinaigrette. A little bit of garlic. There we have a nice garlic paste. And for seafood, lemon. Lemon is going to give a nice fresh acidity. Roll the lemon, cut it. And I'm going to put in a little bit of shallot. And in our vinaigrette, we want to put a little bit of herbs. Parsley in, and now we need a little bit of olive oil. So lemon juice, fresh olive oil, fresh herbs, shallot, garlic, and just a touch of mustard just to bind it together. A little bit of honey is gonna sweeten this up. And what goes great with Italian-style seafood, a little bit of white balsamic vinegar. That's good. So we're gonna let that sit and let the flavors develop, and we're gonna take care of our snails and the calamari. I've taken the snails out from the bouillon, and now it's time to trim them up. So calamari snails, I'm gonna deal with the snails first. This is always super fun. I've always loved as a kid. Taking these out of the shell, it was really fun. These are quite delicious. They look a little strange, but truly, truly super delicious. And then just to slice this very, very thinly. Beautiful. Now it's time for the calamari. And I'm gonna thinly slice it. I want it almost like noodles. And add this and keep cutting some more. I want a little extra crunch in the dish itself, so I'm gonna put some fresh celery, which I think has such a lovely fresh flavor. I'm using the inner parts. It's gonna be tender, crispy, and fragrant. Cutting it on the bias is gonna cut right through some of those fibers and make sure that the celery is nice and tender. I'm gonna add this and voila. Now it's time to dress our ingredients, the calamari and the snail. I think at the heart of it, creating food that is tasty and enjoyable really comes from the heart. And if you cook with heart, your food is gonna taste good and people are gonna enjoy it. Looks like my guests are here. Chef Ayong, 好久不见，你好，你好，欢迎来。
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Brian.
Thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me.
Of
How are
course,
you?
welcome. Hi, Monica.
Hi,
Monica.
nice to
Thanks
see
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
So, Ayong made this delicious dish, and we're gonna be able to taste it. And I also made something inspired by that dish as well. So, I still have stuff going on in the kitchen, but would you guys have a seat? And I'll bring the food right out.
Thank you.
Okay, please, come have a seat. Yes, Shifu, have a seat. All right, here we go.
Wow.
This is Chef Ayong's signature master dish. Wow. And this is the sea snail with calamari and leek soup. And what I find really interesting, Chef loves to travel a lot. So he likes to
really?
go to Europe, and his restaurant is really beautiful with lots of art. All right, so let's try this.
It's very rich. Very smooth.
That's delicious.
Very natural taste.
And this is the snail.
It's a pure fusion of flavors, right? You cannot just say this is like this because everything is so naturally mixed.
It's interesting that there's so many different texture in it too. So you can feel like every kind of stuff in it.
And I love the idea of, in the course of the meal, that this comes kind of in the middle of the banquet, and that way it warms you up on the.
You need it
You need
because
it.
the banquets in Taiwan are incredible, incredible food because they
for the
have so
middle
much
one?
food in it.
This is
No,
probably
sorry.
comes in the middle of the dishes. Yeah, so kind of halfway through, and you get this delicious. Yeah. All right, so you folks keep eating. Help yourself. I'm gonna go bring out the dish that I made that's inspired by this. All right, I'll be right back. 谢谢。
中式跟西式有不同一样，他说要出我们这个中式的螺肉汤的话，他回去要做一个不同的，跟我们有不一样的，什么不一样的？是一个西式的做法。这个我有一种期待哦，希望它能够弄得更不一样的出来。
Now that I have all the components of my dish, I'm gonna dress and assemble. Stick some of these into our snail shell, serving one. This is gonna go great with a little bit of crusty bread, so let's cut some for the guests. Right, I think my guests are here. Our dish is done. Let's greet them and have them try the food. Ja ba boy. Bon appetit. Okay, and here's my dish. For our chef.
It smells already delicious.
Wow, 太美了。
And one for me. So this dish is
inspired.
inspired by chef's dish, and it is calamari and sea snail with braised celery and leeks. The ingredients, there's mint and parsley and garlic in the bottom.
哇，这芹菜的脆度刚好保留，那种橄榄油香气，那种柔弱的柔味道。
And Brian, are you actually a fan of celery, or you don't really like celery? Some people don't like celery, so.
I love celeries, but I'm usually not a big fan of seafood. But this is really, really well made.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I'm really glad I skipped breakfast for this.
I eat celery because it's the fruit of youth. You know, we had to keep healthy and beautiful. So I eat a lot of smoothies. But this way, I never had it before. It's really inspiring.
You can make a little crostini. 然后你可以把里面的东西堆叠在上头。
这样看没
So.
The taste was very unique. It was very lemon-like with an incredible celery pastry inside. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of seafood because it actually tastes really amazing. So I guess it's my lucky day to have chefs here.
I think it's a beautiful combination because you try to use all the ingredients on the previous dish and this with a different flavor. It's really good. I mean, but I would love his dish. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
his
yeah,
dish
this
too,
is- yes.
especially if I'm an American.
层次感、立体感啊，摆起来颜色那种太灿烂了，所以给人一个吸引力，哎，想要去吃它，想要去品尝它，啊，今天就品尝了，真的可以说很到位。
To know that he really enjoyed it, you know, I feel very touched, and I think tradition is the starting point for inspiration and creativity. And I think that by paying homage to Chef Ah Yong and the tradition of Taiwanese Bandou cuisine that he really embodies, that gives me the inspiration to create something new, and that is really exciting and important. I think the best part about sharing good food is sharing it with people you care about. And to have a chef here and to create this dish inspired by his beautiful calamari sea snail leek soup really just warms my heart. So every day learning new things, sharing food, sharing joy. And this is Jason at Jason's Table. Masterful dishes. I'll see you next time. Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Salud. Salud. Thank you so much.